Hello YouTube and welcome to Mr. Brightside, a channel created to help you find inspiration within yourself and the world around you through laughter, love, and literature. My name is Daniel Donnelly, your host, and today I want to talk about overcoming sorrow. Sometimes in life we are faced with moments of sorrow and depression, not knowing when the pain will end. In those moments we feel as though we're walking through a fog, unable to find a way to escape. So how do we overcome our pain? How do we overcome that feeling of loss and feeling alone? In this video, I'd like to offer you some insight that will give you a reprieve in your time of sadness. Think of it as offering you a light that you can use in those dark times. You see, when we gain perspective through other venues, we find that there are many others out there in the world that have gone through similar, if not identical, situations that we're going through now. Through books, novels, the internet, guidance counselors, friends, family, just to name a few. You can utilize these aids to help further understand your strong feelings that you're dealing with in the here and now, like sorrow, for example. There is an absolutely fantastic story I'd like to share with you today called The Magical Mustard Seed. The story begins in a small village in Japan where an elderly lady had unfortunately lost her son. In her grief, she went to the village elder and asked him to help. "Please, help me bring back my son. Do you not have some sort of incantation or spell to be able to bring him back home to me?" Instead of the wise man turning her away or reasoning with her, he told the woman, "Bring me back a mustard seed from a home that has never known sorrow. Do this, and we will use it to aid you in what you seek." With that, the woman rushed off into her village. In her travels, she came across a mansion in the heart of town. Surely, she thought to herself, this would be a home that is perfect for what I seek. As she walked up and knocked on the door, a maid had answered and asked how she may help. "Please help me," the woman exclaimed to the maid. "I'm in search of a mustard seed from a home who has never known sorrow. Is this such a home?" The maid shook her head in disappointment. "Certainly not." And she began to tell the woman all the household's misfortunes. With every story, the maid began to cry more and more. The woman comforted the maid and the entire household and listened to their stories of grief. After she had made them feel better, she continued along her own quest. Now, with every house she visited, all she found was more stories of sadness and misfortune. With every story she was told, she offered comfort to the storyteller and their families. It got to the point she became so invested with helping others with their misfortunes that she began to accept her own. It was at that point that she realized that going on this quest in the first place is what healed her broken heart. Helping others was the mustard seed and allowed her to honor her son's life instead of mourning her loss. You see, everyone goes through pain and sorrow, no matter what their status is nor what they possess. If you take the time to help others through their pain and their grief, you in turn are helping yourself. You gain perspective and understanding. By spreading joy, it's ultimately going to find its way to your own door. To further this point, and to help you understand how the brain works, in the novel Switch, written by Chip and Dan Heath, they explain that our mind is comprised of two parts, that of emotion and that of logic. Now, our logical side is in charge of deliberating, organizing, and strategizing, while our emotional side is that which calls us to action. It's in charge of such things such as happiness and sorrow. To add to this, imagine your emotional side of that of a full-grown elephant, while its counterpart, the logical side, that of a rider on top of the elephant's back. When an event in your life occurs that causes a drastic shift, such as a divorce or death, plans that you have made that didn't see itself through, this causes your brain to shift and wants to react. So using this analogy offered earlier in the novel, more times than not, the elephant, being that of emotion, will take over and cause you to react out of your hurt, your anger, and your frustration. What you need to do when faced with those emotional moments is take a step back and think with both emotional and logical side as your guide. Easier said than done? Well, here's a great exercise to train yourself to start thinking with both sides of the brain. Step 1. Think about a time in your life that you were struck with sorrow. Step 2. Take a piece of paper and draw two large circles, with a part of the two circles overlapping each other in the middle. Label one circle emotion and the other one logic. Step 3. Write down in the overlap section the memory which made you feel sad or depressed. In the circle titled emotion, write down all the other feelings that you felt that day that you can recall. On the logical side of the graph, think about where that moment took you. And what would have happened if it didn't take place? You see, your emotional side wants you to react in here and now, and your logical side deals with more of what could be. Understanding the role of each side of the mind and seeing a visual representation can ultimately help train your brain to take a step back when problems arise, seeing both sides of the coin, as it were. Do this several times until you feel confident enough that your brain can do this without any visual aids. This exercise, I'm sure you're aware, will not remove your sadness altogether. But when you know how your mind functions when faced with difficult times, it will assist you in understanding where your thoughts and feelings are coming from and seeing things from an alternative perspective. Remember, utilize your knowledge to help others see more positive sides to life and comfort them as the woman in the story did. Finally, I'd like to leave you with a quote from Elizabeth Gilbert, author of Eat, Pray, Love. She writes, "Deep grief is almost like a specific location, a coordinate on a map of time. When you're standing in the forest of sorrow, you cannot imagine that you will ever find a way to a better place. But if someone can assure you that they themselves have stood in the same place and now have moved on, sometimes this will bring you hope." Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to leave a comment below, please feel free to do so. I hope this video did help. Also, please feel free to visit our website at www.mrbrightside411.com for more inspirational stories and content, as well as book recommendations. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Wishing you all the best. Good luck out there.